Hey everybody, Brennan here. I'm doing fairly poorly. I just lost my job unexpectedly. Yay, no job security in the food service, which is awesome. I wanted to talk a little bit about jokes about transgender people um, and how they feed into actual like physical consequences for transgender people. Because a lot of people say, like, I hear a lot of trans jokes all the time because we've been society's punchline for a really long time. And when I say things like, these jokes are dangerous and problematic, people think I'm kind of being hyperbolic or making too big of a deal. It's like, oh, Brennan, it's just a joke. Like, have a better sense of humor. It's like, hey, I have a great sense of humor. I'm hilarious. Make everybody laugh all the time. I'm like the funniest person I know. Um, but my sense of humor doesn't rely on like making other people feel less than human, or ridiculing them for who they are. That's not like the basis of my humor. I don't think it's all that imaginative. I mean, where are your high school bullies today? Nowhere. Like, they all peaked at 12. Like, I don't know. But with trans jokes, to a certain extent, jokes about other demographics of people, but especially with transgender people, actually feeds into us not being taken seriously is the reason why we're getting murdered. Um, so these jokes do have like actual social weight and actual physical consequences. Let me use a few recent examples of different kinds of jokes I hear as a transgender person. The first kind is that um, our current gender is not legitimate. It's a front. It's fake. This is especially thrown at trans women. Recently, some like self-professed like peace and love hippie piece of shit that I was unfortunate to meet here in Austin. Um, Posted a really weird meme to a mutual friend's Facebook. Um, that was an X-Men meme. Let's see where this is going. And it was know the difference between X-Men, picture of Wolverine, and X-Men, EX-Men, picture of two trans women. Like, A, it's not, like, that's a really dumb joke. Like, that's just, I don't know. You could have posted a picture of, like, a military cemetery. Like, those are some X-Men. A trans woman is not an X-Man. She's a trans woman. She's a woman. Like, and that just underlines the way society views transgender people as, like, people who have, who are, like, dishonest and putting up, like, a front that, like, yeah, we know you're, like, dressed as a woman, but you're really a man. Like, you're just an X-Man. Like, you'll always be a man. Um, I don't know. And that's something that, like, I've articulated on these videos tons of times. Most of the time, transgender people don't ever having, like, um, perceived that. Totally lost what I was saying. Someone just sent me a message. I'm like trying to play it off like that isn't what just happened. Someone just sent me a message and it like totally um, distracted me. Yeah, I don't know. Just the continued like idea that the people that transgender people are somehow dishonest or not true or fake. Um, like that's what kind of builds up the idea that we're liars. Like there's an idea that, by not being honest with everybody in my life, like there's plenty of people in my life who like don't know that I was born female, like, and that's like I'm not being dishonest, like, and a lot of people would think that I am by not disclosing that, and it's like I don't know like all my guy friends like what their genitals look like I don't know what they look like naked, like I don't know their life story, like I don't know if they're circumcised or not. Like, it's just like people feel like they're entitled to personal information about trans people that they would never ask from anybody else who isn't transgender. Um, to the point that, like, if I were to go on a date with somebody and, like, tell them I have a vagina later, like, I'm the dishonest one. Like, I'm the liar. And that's not, like, I'm not lying. Like, I'm a guy. Um, the reality of my body kind of comes secondary to the person I am. I think a lot of people, cis people, get to be like that. Like they're considered sort of beyond their body as people, by potential lovers and stuff. Um, I'm trying to think of some other, yeah, just jokes that are like that we're so gross to sleep with, or that we're like liars and dishonest, and um, just it feeds into like a lot of just not even people getting angry at the point of disclosure and feeling like they were lied to and betrayed and murder us out of anger, which is that is a legal murder defense in 49 states in this country. It's called trans panic. You can kill in 49 states in this country. California is the only one to take this law off the books, but you can murder a transgender person and claim that you were afraid of them because they were trans and that you freaked out and killed them. And that's a legitimate murder defense in this country. Um, so, like, not only is that happening, but also just mean jokes about what we look like, or us not being real, and it just contributes to a sense of low self-worth in the world and of value. Like you don't really have any weight. Um, like I feel invisible a lot. I feel as a trans person, I feel really contextless. I feel like I have to bite my tongue a lot. Um, which people don't realize. I mean, people think I'm like offended by everything. It's like if I were honest about every single thing that people said about gender that like made me feel weird or erased or like just wasn't true based on what I've experienced of gender, like I would be like the most obnoxious person ever. Like I would never shut up. I would just be constantly like, meh, meh, meh. But like I learned to just be like, and then in my head just be like, hold on, like you idiot, like not my ilk. Um, but yeah, just them, hearing jokes about who you are kind of constantly, and every time like somebody in the public eye comes out, like the most recent one's been Caitlyn Jenner, just been like a mix of like just so many people really happy for her and just like all this like joy and like the struggle she's been through, like to come out. She tried to come out in the 80s and got really bullied back into the closet, which is something that I got bullied back into the closet, so that's something I definitely relate to her on, of what it's like to like live a lie, start to come up to the surface, and then go right back into that lie again. And that's also something that I really felt Like I resonated with Laura Jane Grace on in her Rolling Stones interview. She talks about going through phases where she was knuckling down. I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to, and going back in the closet. Um, yeah, just being surrounded by, like, I mean, when these people come out, it's like it's amazing, but then you're also subjected to the things people say when trans people leave the room, which I'm privy to because people say it when we're still in the room, because people don't realize like how much like normal people, transgender people look and act and are. People have said some really disgusting things, and I'm like right there, and it's just like, if only they knew how many times they said this kind of shit while a trans person was standing right there. Like, I don't know. I think it would blow their mind, honestly. Um, so yeah, I'm privy to a lot of it, and I I think it would surprise people if I said I had thick skin because I am a very sensitive person, but if I were to actually sit down with somebody who thinks that I have like, really thin skinned and are really sensitive and like can't handle people's opinions of me, and if I actually sat down and like told them all the things that people have told me I am because I'm transgender, like to my face, I think they would really be like, holy shit, you have really thick skin. Um, I've heard really gross stuff, not only just being privy to it on the internet and just hearing it in the world, and it's ugly. And thankfully, I'm the kind of person that none of these messages is really going to push me off of who I am and who I want to be and what I'm doing. I'm a very pig-headed person. Um, maybe, I guess stubbornness, you can call it stubbornness, I call it resiliency. Like, I know who I am, I stick to my guns, stick to them all the way home. If you don't like it, get the fuck out. Like, that's really who I am. And I think that's admirable. I think more people should be like that. And I think it's an especially important thing to cultivate when you're a demographic so socially vulnerable as transgender people. You need to develop a thick skin, and some people can't. And these jokes about transgender people cost lives. They just are ways that the message of you are socially worthless and you are a punchline, you are not human, you are a punchline, you're a political concept, and you are a punchline. It's just shoved into my head every day, and I'm surrounded by it all the time. And it makes me want to die. And like, I'm a pretty strong person, and I'm at a point where I know that suicidal ideations are a way that my brain, for whatever reason, responds to stress, minor and major. It's just like, kill yourself. Like, that's just like what my brain does. And like, I've learned to deal with that. I've learned that that's something that I have to radically accept in my life as a part of being mentally ill. But some people aren't at that point, and some people are where I used to be, where I wasn't like, I didn't come out until I was 25, and I think there was a reason for that. I don't think I could have. I think I would have killed myself if I had tried to come out before then. I don't think I could have handled the amount of backlash I've experienced. I think the way that it happened, in which I started coming out, then got sober, then really like came out. That's the only way it could have happened. Because there's, and that's why I stand up and make these videos and really put myself out there and on the line. And I'm always caught between a rock and a hard place of like wanting to advocate and being afraid and honestly not being able to handle the backlash that I get. And because I do get a lot of hate mail for what I say. And it's hard. And, I really encourage people to really think about, if they're making a joke about trans people, think about a young transgender person hearing that joke and feeling like they're a joke and feeling like no one will ever take them seriously and who they are isn't possible and their life isn't going to be possible. Like, that's the physical cost of jokes about transgender people. I don't know. I like I said, I just got fired. And it's just like a really dumb situation. um, so I'm just kind of in a despondent mood right now. But I also just felt like this is an important video to make because I don't think people understand the effects that just like a joke can have on how legitimate a person's identity is perceived in the world and how legitimate they perceive themselves to be in the world. Like, jokes aren't just jokes. Like, I never understand why it's like, little kids say, like, sticks and stones can break my bones, words can never hurt, and then it's like, at some point in middle school, like, we start learning, well, actually, words can hurt, and you guys are bullies, like, but then in adulthood, it goes right back to that, like, no, words do hurt. Words hurt all the time. That's a really naive thing to say. And anybody who says that, like, words don't hurt them is a liar. Like, because I give less of a fuck about most things than most people I know, and, like, words still deeply, deeply hurt me. And I'm, like, I don't know, I'm pretty self-confident, but I'm also prone to self-doubt. And, it's really easy when people are constantly throwing doubt at who you are and calling who you are delusional. So, I don't know. That's all from me. Have a better day than I am. And hopefully I'll be in better spirits. I've been through this before. I'm the king of finding a job in 2 weeks, so we'll see how this goes. Take care.